Hey everybody, Justin Givens
Hey,
here.
Michelle, how's it going?
We're at Image in a Box in Huntsville, Alabama. We've got somewhat of a rainy day. It's been that way lately, hasn't it?
Uh, yes, very much so. So, how are you doing today?
Yeah, you
Are you
enjoying your day?
are you ready to dive into learning more about what, like, how we can simplify your conversion monitoring? That's sort of what we're going to dive into today, and hopefully make it all seem a little less overwhelming. That's sort of our goal to help you.
Yeah, we also want to make sure you can hear us just fine. So give us a thumbs up, comment, let us know if we need to bump up the audio or anything like that because we want to make sure you can hear us nice and easy. All
Let
right?
me check.
Yeah, looks good so far. All right. Cool. You ready?
Yeah. I didn't get a thumbs up, but we'll go ahead.
We'll go with it.
All right. If you have issues, let us know.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess, we'll talk again a little bit about the conversion monitoring. So that's what we're going to be talking about today and sort of giving you an overview of what the conversions are and why they're important and basically just help you sort of walk through that process a little bit and understand what kind of reporting is available to you to determine, why you would want to go through the process of actually setting up the conversions.
Right.
So, and also, just so you can stay tuned throughout this live broadcast, is we're going to be giving away one viewer. We're going to give away a free conversion setup.
By one of our experts.
Yeah,
We'll set
on
up.
Google Analytics
Yeah.
specifically. So
Yeah.
we'll dive into that and we'll be reminding you throughout. But basically, we'll let you know how to be entered in for that about midway through. So
Yeah.
definitely
Stay tuned.
All right. So why is conversion monitoring important?
Oh, this question. I love it. Have you ever thought, man, is that marketing working?
Yeah. No, in our line of business, yes, I think about it a lot.
It's one of those things is I'm doing all this marketing effort. I am spending time after time doing emails. I'm doing online ads. I'm doing social posts. But if you're not monitoring that and you're not measuring it with conversions, how do you know it's working?
Yeah, I know, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of times when we're, meeting with clients and talking with them, seeing that they may not have or not utilizing this is always an interesting thing because it really is important and it is important to know what's working and what's not working, and then you can take it, even to a higher level is, if you're not setting that up and not monitoring your Google, or sorry, if you're not monitoring conversions, then you're not able to actually do your advertising where it's going to be even more optimal and save you money. So
right. And
it's
again,
very important.
conversions give you an easy way to see what's working, what's not. And it also allows you to do additional audiences off of that conversion stuff. And that's why conversion monitoring is extremely important.
Yeah, it matters, definitely.
Yes.
So if you're not doing it, you definitely need to be. So what if you're wanting to sort of get into it? So say you're not doing it currently. That's what we're assuming some of our listeners are not doing that. So if you're not doing it currently, what would they need to do to sort of get started with that?
So it's more important to identify what is successful in your line of business. So it goes back to the business and marketing goals.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about, and we will talk about this probably every time, because you can't really do good marketing without goals, right? So you need to make sure you've set SMART goals so then you know what you need to measure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drop into the chat here in a minute
Well, I'll go ahead and do it.
some resources on how to create a SMART goal. So Michelle will put that into the chat line there. You also will tell you what metrics are important to look at in the analytical space, in Facebook Analytics, in Google Analytics. There's a lot of metrics to look at. When you set up your SMART goal, you then can say, these are the important metrics for you and for your business. And that's what's more important is, yes, there's a lot of wealth of information, But knowing exactly what stats to look at, you can then make a lot quicker business decisions to move forward with. And so that's what's great about setting up those goals, because then you know what you're looking for.
Well, that is a good point that you bring up, is because a lot of times if you're blindly doing your marketing efforts in today's environment, you actually might really get sidetracked because there's such a wealth of information that it can almost make all of the analytical stuff seem almost pointless, because you're like drowning in a sea of reports and data points, and you're like, I don't even know where to begin. So sort of having the goals and what we're talking about today, the conversions set up that align with those goals, then you can actually do your like report analysis
Right.
very simply. You only go look, maybe one or two simplified reports, and then you can even have those emailed to you. But
Yeah.
so
Save a
then,
lot more time.
right? Or you can even go a step further, but we won't get into that. But anyways, you can basically have those sent right to your inbox, and then you don't even have to look at all the overwhelming analytics, which can make the whole process seem so daunting. So
Yes.
I think that that's one of the things that we're trying to get across today is, yes, there's a little bit of setup involved, and some of that may seem a little overwhelming, but the benefit of actually being able to clear out the fog of all the data, and then also to basically get like a feedback loop going on and save money on your advertising and make your advertising work more.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully those three things right there really make you want to say, okay, maybe I should look into this
Right.
conversion stuff and setting it up properly.
And then it's also important to identify what tools will help you measure those conversions. So if you've got a website, there's tools out there. If you're only doing email marketing, there's tools out there to help you measure that, usually within that email marketing platform. And then there's also, like if you just live in social media, looking at their analytical tools as well.
Correct.
So again, you want to make sure you identify which tool is going to cover either that single channel or the multiple channels, and which one's going to fit best for your business needs and
your goals.
and your goals.
Yeah.
Always your goals.
Yes.
So setting up that tool will then make sure you have the right monitoring in place, which is again the most important.
Well, that's key, because if you think you're going to go monitor all that, and then you get to the end and you're like, well, crap, I didn't set up.
Right.
Like I didn't think about, I wasn't going to be able to monitor that metric for that goal, then you're sort of back to square one, and you did all that, and then you have no idea what worked and didn't
Yeah.
work. So definitely important.
Well, before you jump into the next question I think you're going to dive into, I want to give you confidence that it's okay if you're in mid-campaign.
Oh,
Get it set up. I hear so many people say, well, I'll do it next time. And what happens is life and business happens and you forget. Right now, take the time, block off your calendar if you have to, which is a great little business tip. Set it up now, even if it doesn't have the full campaign or your full data. Get it set up, because the next time you run that campaign, it's there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely like that.
Don't wait.
Well, yeah, I mean, procrastination gets the best of all of us, and I think that anything that sounds scary or something unfamiliar to you, I mean, you're obviously going to procrastinate on that
Right.
more. I mean, I know I do. So anything that's like has this aura of mystery around it, then you're going to be like, I'll do that next time, and then you'll keep saying that. So I think it is better to just like say, I'm going to do it.
Right.
We've got resources that would help. And you can always message if you have questions. But so for website related conversion goals, because like you mentioned, there's email marketing, there's social media marketing, and all of those things. But if I'm wanting to look more specifically about my website traffic, then internally we're always recommending Google Analytics.
Yep.
So what can you tell our listener out there how they go about setting that up?
Yeah. So in Google Analytics, there's two terms that you're going to see: goals and conversions. To measure conversions in Google Analytics, you've got to set up goals. So it's the interchangeable word that you'll see in Google Analytics. Like Michelle said, in other platforms, you might just see conversions. You might not see that use of a word goal. in Google Analytics, I'm going to reiterate it, you got to set up a goal first. What is that goal? How is it going to be monitored and measured, and those kind of things. So to go about that, you basically go into your admin screen. You're going to set up a new goal, and you're going to go through the little steps. It's 3 steps, and it just asks some very simple questions, and then you will have your goal set up.
Okay.
Then the reporting will start happening.
Okay.
Pro tip, expert tip, whatever you want to call it, it will start from today.
Okay.
Goal,
so it won't go back retroactive.
Goal recording starts when you create it. That's why that last tip I said, get it done now, very important, because the sooner you get those goals created, the sooner you can start recording those goals.
Okay. So I've got a resource for a blog that you did, Justin, that I'm going to post here as well. Oops. I posted the same one. my paste is not working.
So the resource she's going to post in is a step-by-step. I think it's 6 steps on how to create a goal in Google Analytics. And it's got little animated GIFs to show you basically what I'm doing in those steps. It gives you some context as well. It's a great little resource just to walk you through that.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. And go back. Those 2 resources that we've posted are very beneficial, because if you go through those 2 things and you set up the goal, then you're going to be well equipped for our live, which will be next week, on actually like walking them through setting up a couple conversions in certain different types of common areas that you might want to set up conversions. So go ahead and be familiarizing yourself with those, and that'll let you know sort of what, or get you prepped for questions so that you can ask us directly. That's sort of the hope for next week,
Right.
that you'll have gone through at least enough to then either have questions, or maybe you won't even need to tune in, but we hope that you do. Anyway, so what our giveaway is going to be today is that we're going to give away a conversion setup for you, or help you, identify that goal and then the metric, and then help you set up how to capture that on your website. You would have to have Google Analytics already installed, so if you don't, then
Do that first.
yeah, do that first. But anyway, so we've got a question here that I'm going to post, and if you want to be entered to win the setup, then you're going to answer this question. Just reply to this question and answer it, and then at the end we will pull one of the responses as the winner.
So you'll get an expert. We'll have a phone call with that person. We'll go through, as Michelle said, we'll identify what the best conversion is that we could set up for you, and then make sure it's set up correctly in Google Analytics.
Okay.
So again, huge, great way. And you know what? We're going to do it now. We're not going to wait till the next campaign.
Yeah. So the question is, what do you consider a conversion on your website? So what would you, thinking about your website, what would you consider a conversion to be? So go ahead and reply to that question that I posted out there, and at the end we will pull one lucky winner.
Ooh.
All right. So basically, I wanted to get you to show you out there that's tuning in how the reporting looks, so that they, in Google Analytics, so that they, like the person listening, can gauge, why would I want to go through the trouble of all this? Because it may seem, again, like a big ordeal to set up. So I want you guys to see what's on the other side before you even have to get to the other side.
Yeah, so I'm going to switch the screen over from us. We're going to show a screenshot of the report in Google Analytics. Give me a second for that switch. There we go. It worked. I'm so impressed. Nothing broke that we know of. We are still going.
Yeah.
So as you can see here on this screen, there is a wealth of information. Now, at the end of this, I'll post this video in the chat because it's on our broadcast computer, so we don't have it right here in front of me. But that wealth of information, it's showing the channels, basically what channel is driving traffic in. It's also showing basically how many users and sessions are coming in. Again, these are some terms that you'll run through in Google Analytics. So just a quick recap. A user is like Michelle or me, and then both of us can have multiple sessions. So those numbers won't match up, but That's just the gist of those two numbers right there. But if you look at that third column, if you don't have Google Analytics set up, that third column of conversions will just be 0. It won't show you anything good. It will just be 0, 0, 0. And that's no fun. You want to be able to see that data. And that's why setting up a goal in Google Analytics is so important. Now,
so that's only, just to clarify, because I think that you said Google Analytics, that's if you don't have goals set up.
Correct.
So if they don't, they have to have Google Analytics to get this report, but then if they don't have a goal set up, they would not see anything in those last 3 columns.
Correct. And so looking at, if you have an e-commerce site, you'll see more of the revenue side. That's very important from that standpoint. But looking at the conversion rate, how many goal completions, all that information is very useful. Now, this screen can be extremely overwhelming. As you can see, there's 9, 10 columns of information staring at you. Digesting this information can be really time consuming, because then every time you look at it, the data is changing, right?
So how could you make it, like, I mean, this is the Google Analytics report, so how could someone simplify that?
Well, let me switch to another screen. And what we created was a Google Analytics custom report. So let's see if we can make this switch happen. And oh, look at that, folks. We're 2 for 2 on changes here. We're having fun. All right, so looking at this report, you can see we're now just looking at 4 columns. Nothing crazy. We're showing in this report what campaigns are being successful, what goal conversion rate is the highest, and then also how many completions and basically out of how many sessions. So then you can get a good snapshot within a couple minutes of looking at this and saying, hey, I know this campaign that has been running for, say maybe a month or 2 months is doing great. Now, this information can be easily digestible. It's just a custom report that is set up. And so anyone can create custom reports in Google Analytics. You can even import custom reports. Again, Google Analytics is great from that standpoint. In our training course that we have specifically for Google Analytics, we actually walk you through on how to create this report. So you can bring it into your Google Analytics, because we know how important this report is and how easy it is.
Okay.
So you can see there's conversion rates and number of conversions. The conversion rate is basically the math between sessions and completions. So you always want to make sure you've got a good number of sessions, because you want good data. And again, it's still showing you what's successful. So I'm going to flip back to the live video feed of us, if we don't break it. There it is! Yay!
So I'm going to drop in a link as well to you guys out there about that training course that you mentioned, just so people will know that they can get access to that. So,
okay, cool.
So if you're interested in getting some of that simplification automatically done for you, that tool can help you, and it actually can help you get those reports emailed to you as well with that training course. So definitely check that out. So I guess we will see, what sort of questions we've got going on out here. So
yeah.
So far I'm not seeing any questions, and I'm not.
So one thing I did want to add is that a lot of people have websites on different kind of platforms. Google Analytics works with probably all of those platforms. Setting up a goal in Google Analytics can still happen. So don't think, hey, my platform, I can't set this up. You probably can. Okay. So it might just take maybe a Google search. It might just take looking out, if you have a hosted platform, reaching out to them to see if they have support on how to do those things, like getting Google Analytics installed. But again, you can do this no matter what website you're on. Okay. You just will need to get goals created.
Okay.
And set up those correct goals from that standpoint. So let's see here.
So I am not seeing anything. So I guess if someone wants to reach out to us if they have questions about setting it up, then we'll be glad to help you along the way. But like I said, definitely check out those 2 resources so that next week when we go over the actually setting up the conversion, that you'll be prepared with questions and we can, help out. It'll sort of be like a just live Q&A while he's walking through the process of setting it up, so that you can ask any questions. So be prepared, and if you have questions in the meantime, reach out to us. We'd enjoy helping you. So.
Yeah, and we'll since we have no responses, we'll do the same promo or the same giveaway next week with that live. All right?
All right.
Signing off from Huntsville, I'm Justin.
Michelle.
Stay healthy, folks.
Yeah, stay healthy. Wash your hands.